Silver is still in the ICU, in my view. Okay, it rhymes. We could trade 95, even 100, but even though it's recovering, it's going to take some more time to heal. So I talked about the potential of a bounce. Look, it got to the line. I didn't buy it there. I'm thinking 95 to 100. Still think there's a failing rally coming, that we're not going to just blast to new highs, that there'll be some type of failing rally, and then we work lower and really panic people under 70 for $10 or so. So that's my view on silver. Gold, same thing. Um, this 5,100 level was big. So I think it's going to have trouble getting through 5,100 before another wave to the downside. So, I think that there's going to be great buying opportunities after this correction completes, but be patient and let it complete and try not to have FOMO. If you own physical, probably took some off. From Thursday's show, I talked about selling some physical. Now you want to get prepared at this point to be a buyer. Okay, we ended three. This is four in Elliott terms, and then we have five, which sometimes is another blow-off wave. So, uh, shorter term, I think there's an opportunity on the short side, but you have to consider that just one contract, 10-cent moves happen every second, $500. And that's why I would say maybe if you want to trade it, you have to reduce leverage or find lower leverage um, instruments to trade. We're about trying to make money and try and stay away from things that you know our pockets aren't deep enough to trade without getting popped out. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I still view this as a bear market rally for this corrective period that we're in, looking for maybe A, B, C, or some other structure lower. I'm attempting shorts. I did it in the room with the yen up here, a little bit above the 50% level. We don't have the elections for another 5 days, so we'll see. We filled the gap yesterday, and just WD GAN thing. If you believe that a new direction and trend is establishing itself, you buy and sell 50% retracement. So that's what I'm doing here, even though I don't think that yields are through going up. We're back up here at 430. We held 420. The whole move, the formation measured 440. It's a big range between uh, 395 and 420. So, that's 25, that's 440, 445. Looks like we're headed higher in yields. So we'll see if the yen and yields disconnect. I want to cover oil because, there's this talk about a deal. To me, this looks like this was just a pullback to buy. I bought it yesterday. I took some heat. I'm still long. So stop survived. I was risking a couple bucks. Decent looking day it's putting in today. And we'll see, I believe this Friday, there's going to be negotiations. So we'll see. And then a week from tomorrow is the 47th anniversary of the Islamic Republic negotiating with the 47th president of the United States. So we'll see. Maybe something happens. Anniversary dates do pop up. But I still think WTI is not through popping up. I don't see it collapsing like silver did. So, something else I want to talk about is that there's an opportunity. We've pulled back in the wheat from the weekly breakout. It didn't do it. Okay, so here was a trend line. You know, there's a channel. On the weekly, it's the same. So I think we're having kind of an inside week. I would take advantage of it and start scaling in. I don't think this either is going to crash like silver. Are we going to new lows during the dollar rally? I don't know. I think this is a decent pullback to buy. And next time up here, I think we will get this breakout. It tried. That happens. Sometimes it takes a few tests, sometimes three you know, to get through the ceiling or to pound through the floor. So I'm still pounding the table on wheat. I still like the way it looks. This was a tremendous base it's trying to come out of, talking about 3 years of bases. And there have been false starts, and maybe this is another one. But I'd rather be early than late on wheat. And you almost have to buy with, okay, I'll put some out here, and I hope it does go lower. I even have another washout to continue to accumulate. Because I mean, that's a 30-cent move, which if you're trading silver, happens in 20 minutes. And in wheat, it would take a matter of days for it to try and negate this. So, go to lower beta during these times. As far as being a trader, as far as physical holdings, that's different, right? It's really a different ballgame. But when you're leveraged, why not seek out um, markets that are out of favor? They're quiet. There's an expression that I learned a few years ago. I think it was from Alex Bernal, and he said that markets bottom in silence and they top with violence, which is, you know, definitely what we saw in silver. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin here. I think there's a shot for a three drive to a bottom formation. Here's one, here's two. Let's see where the RSI is down here. It looks like return lines are going to come in a little higher than, the 70. I'm hearing some people talk 67 too. So we'll just draw this out, maybe in a week or so. It could be down there. That looks like 72 sometime next week. So we'll watch this wedge line. Maybe we'll even get some type of throw over. And I don't want to buy it until I see a low with the RSI um, over 30. Okay. Not down here. So I've taught it many times, but your ideal three drive setups happen when you get a reading above 30. Okay. Not down here. You don't want to take these divergent signals. But if we get a couple above 30 with a couple of new lows, then you have something. I think that's about all I was going to address. So, you know what? Let's take a look at the Russell, see what it's doing today. Um, the Russell isn't close to making new highs. I don't think it will while the S&P attempts it. Even if S&Ps have 7,100 in it, I'm bearish. I think that the gold and silver were a signal of the leverage in the system. And I don't think that equities are going to remain unscathed. I'm not talking a crash. I'm talking 10% correction. S&P is back to 62 or so, and larger correction in NASDAQ. So we'll see. I have been talking about China a little bit with Maggie, and I told her I was bearish a few weeks ago uh, on China. Here's the FXI. It looks so much worse than our markets. Here's BABA, one of their stars. I wouldn't be buying BABA. So, we're hearing about all this growth in China and how things are going, and their equities look a lot worse than ours. So that's something to keep an eye on. Um, Among the other grains, beans, maybe we get an ABC, but I like the beans. And, you have to like the corn too. I mean, it's been a huge base. I know we had this recent sell off here, but, corn bottomed back in August of 24. So, year and a half. Beans bottomed in July of no, September, August, near the harvest in 24. Looks good, doesn't it? So we've gotten away from this space and maybe we're putting in a handle here um, on the beans. So consider, taking a look at other things that you haven't traded for a while, just like sectors, there's rotation in equities, there is rotation among different commodity groups. With that being said, remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. I have a great interview lined up for you guys tomorrow. Ben Maldonado, who does a lot of geometric and cycle work. He started talking about the epic cycle quite a few years ago with me, was telling people to buy silver when it was cheap and gold when it was cheap, and caught a nice piece of Bitcoin. So I think you're going to like Ben. He has a macro and a tactical outlook for markets. So that'll be at 10:30 a.m. EST. And then we have Larry Tentarelli coming later on in the month on the 28th, Blue Chip Daily. So trying to bring in some people to give you guys different looks and views and learn from them, just like you could be learning in the room from, we have some excellent traders in here. I would check them out. Some guys put up research work, so there's a lot of sharing of knowledge. Okay, Mike does a great job. So, here's Larry. So, going to have him later in the month. But Mike does a great job. Here's his alter ego, Gordon Gecko, and here's DRSC. We have a nice little community building here. So come and hang out with us. No pressure. It's not a free trial. It's just free. And with that being said, don't just count your